Hey, this is Grover with Old Ones and Dice, here with Alex with Gravetrigger. He's going to give us a bit of a overview of his game. It's going to be on Gamefound April 8th.
April 8th.
Okay.
Going live then. So this is Gravetrigger. Gravetrigger is a game in which you are playing as these humans that are terminally fused into this reality warping armor that's feeding on the human inside to kind of fuel their own evolution. That's granting them these incredibly powerful abilities. It's pretty unique in the game. It has there's no tape measures required. It's a completely open movement system. What you do is that in initiative order, you set down these movement tokens anywhere within your character's line of sight, and that is the place you're intending to move.
Okay.
This allows you to do things just like tear straight across the battlefield. You could run straight up walls. There's a lot of really acrobatic movement, lots of like kind of parkour movement you can do along the way. It is also a completely diceless combat system.
Okay.
The game's deterministic. It is very much inspired by fighting games or Souls-likes, and basically you will never miss on your own. It is always up to your opponent to stop you from hitting you.
Okay.
Blocking to soak damage, evading completely, or even counterattacking and getting into a clash. Very over-the-top combat. Any piece of scatter terrain in the game can be used as a weapon. Nothing stop you from taking a hunk of ruined walls and smashing them over somebody's head, or even literally taking a piece of terrain and throwing it to any point in line of sight. It'll explode, push people off a point. It's very over the top. Characters can also create terrain on demand, basically mutating the battlefield to create these living terrain objects.
Okay.
So when you want elevation, you can summon it underneath you, or if somebody's coming in for the kill, you can summon up these mutated mushroom forms to create a wall for cover.
Okay.
It's very much like an open sandbox for combat.
Okay. So now with the different characters, so it's interesting. So you're gonna, which character is this? This is
Gadriel. So their token is actually up here.
So you take your token, and you would put that token anywhere on the board.
Yeah. So if we go into the really specific rules, there's one measurement gauge for the entire game, the reach gauge.
Okay.
This is used to measure the reach of your weapons.
Okay.
Where you can pick targets. It's used to measure terrain because the larger the terrain, the different kind of effects it will have.
Okay.
And it's also used to measure your character's agility because during their movement, those parkour movements I was talking about.
Yeah.
You break them up into different steps on the gauge, so you can do things like wall bounces and clamber up over structures. In terms of the way movement will work, pretty straightforward. Is in reverse initiative order. For each one of your characters, you're taking a movement token and putting it within that model's line of sight.
Okay.
Anywhere within model line of sight works. The one restriction would be at elevation. They're super fast, they're super powerful, but they can't fly. So you can't just go clear across the board. But if you can see a ledge on something, there's nothing to stop you from putting your token on that ledge.
Okay.
The only restriction is that if it is at a surface higher than reach 3, you have to be within reach 1 of where it is.
Okay.
So they can basically run up the wall or climb up. But then when that character activates, there's nothing stopping them from getting to their token and repositioning up on top.
Okay.
Very fluid, very fast. But yeah, the way it works is that after you set down your tokens, for each character, you're going to assign them an order card. These are going to dictate the actions and reactions that are available to your characters during that round. And this is all hidden face-down information.
Okay.
Your opponents will not know what you're planning. And there's 3 types of orders. There's combat, control, and animus. Combat, pretty straightforward. You're going to be using your weapons to attack. Each character has multiple weapons they can select from, these organic extensions of their body. There's also powerful weapon techniques you can do by paying extra resources. Or you can use terrain, it says right there, as an attack. For control, that's what you're going to use to interact with objectives, or in the narrative campaign, there's NPCs you can do actions with.
Okay.
You can also raise your initiative, because the initiative is going to be constantly dynamically fluctuating through the round.
Okay.
When you swing your weapons, they're going to affect your initiative when you use them.
Okay.
Dropping you down in the order, and changing how activations will play out every round.
Okay, so imagine your more powerful weapons probably a little bit slower, so it's going to move you down in the...
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you probably have lighter damage weapons that are quicker, keeps you...
So like a heavy blade
can
do a lot of damage up front, but it'll affect you by 3 initiative positions.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you have like a handheld sickle that you can use in the fight that basically you can just get a quick slash in, use for utility.
And that won't affect anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Your initiative wise. Okay.
Yeah. And then for the Animus Order, that is what you can use to do mutations, or that's where you create the living terrain on the battlefield.
Okay.
Or you can use an install, which is basically you're letting the armor like seize control of the human inside for a moment.
Okay.
And these are these really powerful full turn abilities that characters have on their different cards.
Okay. Okay.
So then, once every character is a movement token, and they've assigned an order card face down, the round begins. You start at the top of initiative order and then go down.
Okay.
When it comes time for your turn to act, you will just be able to move towards your initiative, your movement token. If there's no obstructions in the way, it's as simple as literally you just go straight to it, reposition your model, touching any part of the token,
Okay.
and then you pull it from the base. If there is something in the way, your characters have that agility I mentioned earlier. You can pay resources to navigate around obstacles. So let's say somebody creates living terrain in your path, blocking off your direction to get to the point you want to get to.
Sure.
You can use those resources to basically like leap around or even navigate to a better vantage point to then get back to where your intended destination is.
Now, what was that called? The ability the stat you would use to...
Oh, agility.
Agility, yeah.
So yeah, and agility is actually used for different things in the game. There's weapon techniques that are like powerful and acrobatic.
Okay.
You might want to exhaust your agility for those. So when and where you use it is pretty important to the game.
Does it refresh like every turn, or?
It refreshes at the start of every round. You can also pay resources to refresh it.
Okay.
But those resources, which I'll get to in a moment, are actually things that put the characters in danger.
Okay.
Basically, every character has a torque limit. It's the measure of how much the human inside the armor can withstand as they're being whipped around at crushing G-forces. They're like glimpsing the void and losing sanity as these like machines are basically phasing through solid matter and slowing down time around them.
Okay.
So torque is necessary to use reactions on your orders.
Okay.
It's also used for different abilities, and weapons inflict torque.
I saw
very
that
often.
some of the weapon there was a torque stat there on the weapon. Yep.
And if you can't afford the total torque cost, you can't execute these critical maneuvers to stop damage and attract or counterattack. And then also, if you're hit out of cover, you have a torque burst, where every point of torque that's on your character is cleared, but is added straight to damage.
Okay.
So Ashima here has a really high torque limit of 10. Tons of acrobatic things they can do in the middle of the round, lots of different weapon techniques. But if they're full up on torque, caught in the wrong place, wrong time, their total damage they can take is 16. That's going to be almost their entire health bar being burned away instantly.
Okay.
But in the game, characters evolve as they take damage.
Okay.
The armor's feeding off of the person, like losing their vitality inside. You gain resources. Basically, whenever you take damage, you can gain that many animus points up on this top track. So if you take 3 damage, you can use 3 points if you want to activate an ability like Snap Breach here.
Okay.
And then if you ever take enough damage that you hit one of these highlighted squares, those are damage states. This is a deck of cards that you build in the beginning of the game, hidden from your opponent. And I say deck, but there's nothing random about it. You are going to choose what they are. And these are these different evolutions that your armor can choose to gain when it reacts to damage throughout the game. And there's a ton to choose from. They do things like add new actions and reactions. You can grow new weapons, add new keywords to your weapons, or it might just be like a big AoE effect that you have waiting in store and then you can unleash it.
Now, how many models do you currently have? The characters do you have in the game right now?
Yeah. So right now, there are 12 characters that have been completely sculpted, ready to go. For the Gamefound, the 2-player starter box is going to be these 6 characters here.
Okay.
They all have alternate weapon arms also. The game is not WYSIWYG. All the weapons are represented by cards, but you can customize them however you want.
Okay.
There's also a 3rd faction, the Discordia, which... This is one of the Discordia models. They really synergize with like living terrain and the mutations of the world.
Okay.
There's going to be a box for them. That's another 3. And then there's going to be 2 stretch goals that add 2 more models to the starter box and 1 more model to the Discordia starter. Okay. So 12 models total right now. And the goal is to new factions having a minimum of 3 models each, because that's the base format of the game is 3v3.
Okay.
As well as building up on the existing factions as well.
So So what? Now this terrain, which is pretty cool, is this
Yeah.
is this what's going to come in the Kickstarter?
Yep. The Gamefound, it's gonna.
I'm sorry. Correct. Game
Oh, no,
Found.
it's okay.
Sorry.
The starter set includes the 6 models you see here. Playmat, like you see here, is a full punch board modular terrain kit. It's actually more than the objects you see here
Okay.
for the demo. And this tower, this was co-designed by Ryan from Brutal Cities, where he designed this entire tower.
Oh,
So
who's that designed it?
Ryan from Brutal Cities.
Okay.
He designed
Yeah,
the tower and a lot of the other terrain objects in the set. And it's like what he worked on is brilliant. Basically, so we have these individual shacks
Yeah.
that are modular and can build in different ways that can be used independently, but they can also socket into any of these points on this structure to create these modular layouts.
Okay.
And in game, these can count as scatter terrain.
Okay.
So there's nothing to stop you from being on a perch and literally ripping out one of these shacks and then hurling
And
it.
throwing it at an opponent. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, that'll all be included. There's also a full rulebook with skirmish scenarios, and then there's a full narrative campaign that is 8 scenarios long, but has 42 variations.
Okay.
It's like a choose your own adventure almost. Whoever wins the scenario gets to dictate the story path.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the Gamefound was April 8th. When are you expecting delivery of the products? Kind of the idea?
So I think it's going to be about a 2-month. I'd say 2 to 3 months. So most of the tooling, we're going to get into the totally in the weeds here.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of the tooling is already done.
Okay.
I've already covered all the molds. Those are all made. The dies for the terrain and stuff like that. I mean, I do all the texture art. So it's
Okay.
like, that stuff's all done. The layouts I do, all the graphic design's done. It's just when the campaign wraps, if everything goes well, I want to add some extra art to the rulebook and flesh out some lore sections.
Okay.
But the actual manufacturing should only take about 2 months to be done. So
Okay.
if all goes well, I mean, I would expect delivery by Gen Con.
By Gen Con. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And what material are you going with for the models?
Oh,
Now, I'm
so
assuming they're not pre-painted.
they're not pre-painted.
Right.
But it's a blend of resin and PVC.
Okay.
It's with a manufacturer called Unicool. Corvus Belli, I believe, is using it for some of the larger models in Infinity.
Okay.
There's also some board games like Elfwell Chronicles uses it.
Okay.
Like, I'm legitimately totally in love with it. It's like a Goldilocks blend. It's durable like PVC, but when you clean it, it doesn't burr up like PVC.
Okay. Yeah.
There's not like fine particulate like with regular resin. Like, it is really a great balance between detail, just a little bit of flexibility.
Okay.
The only misgiving I have about it is that you can't use solvents, so you can't use like plastic cement. You have to use super glue.
Okay. All right.
And I love the results, but I love using plastic cement on models.
It does make things a little easier, but I do a lot of 3D printing, so
Yeah.
yeah, we got to use the
You got to use it, but yeah,
you got to use the super glue accelerator if you need it sometimes.
yeah.
Okay. No, this is really interesting. I really like the three-dimensionality of what you're going for, the parkour, that movement mechanics.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Thank you. And there's a lot of combat that directly rewards verticality.
Yeah.
Not only with characters' abilities, but things like specific weapons. For example, this weapon, the Burst Hammer,
Mhm.
which this character Gehenna is using here, that specifically has a weapon technique that if you're using your movement to descend, you're able to create like a big impact and basically push everybody out of the way from the point you hit.
Okay.
And there are also full collision rules with terrain and other characters. So you could jump off of a building, slam into the ground, blow everybody back, possibly through terrain, doing
Okay.
extra effects and stuff like that.
Okay, so you hit somebody, they move, they take more damage
Yeah.
when they hit something.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in this specifically, it's literally every character. So you have to be careful not to get your own characters in the way because it's too
Okay.
big of a hit. They're just being blown back.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of force movement in the game. Most weapons are going to have some form of it. Ways you can pull, push people through terrain,
Okay.
do extra damage.
All right. Oh, that's great. All right. You know, I'll admit, I saw some of the art, this thing
Yeah.
for this, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it caught my attention. You know, I saw it online, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go look for that. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Best of luck with the game, and all right, till next time.